He Krsna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari. Everyone like to say? Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari. We just saw in those montages of those two lectures of Srila Prabhupada how he was glorifying Srimati Radharani on her appearance day. There are many important points there. One of the points Prabhupada was saying is that Prabhupada said, I don't tell stories of Radha and Krishna. Mostly on Radhashtami Day. We find it's an occasion for telling many stories from the esoteric pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But we see that Prabhupada said, I don't do that. That is usually indulged in, Prabhupada indicated, by the Prakrita Sahajiyas, or those who try to take everything very cheaply. If we hear about of course Prabhupada said that when we're on the advanced, as long as we're in the conditioned stage, we shouldn't do so. On the advanced platform, then we can actually appreciate what is Radha, Krishna, Pranaya Vikriti. What are the transformations of loving affairs of Radha and Krishna? But we see that practically our acharyas, especially our two most recent acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, they didn't have the habit of speaking in public about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada especially is very reserved in this matter. Not that they didn't speak about Radha and Krishna. Everything they came to give was only to direct us towards what is our prayojan, prem prayojan, love of Krishna, which means love of Radha and Krishna, because there's no the Gauriya Vaishnavas, it means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially, have indicated who is Krishna. There's no full understanding of Krishna without Radha. But very cautiously approach this subject matter. It's very easy to say Jai Radhe, and tell stories of very intimate pastimes, but actually to enter into the mood of service to Radha and Krishna, that is our position. Radharani, what is the meaning? This Prabhupada was quoting this verse. Anayaradite nunam Bhagavan Haririshvaraha. She is the best servant of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada was, in his lectures, was pointing out to us how great is Radharani. Let us try to understand how great is she. Prabhupada was saying everyone is worshipping Krishna. Of course, not everyone, but everyone who's sane. We don't find so many sane people in the material world because that's the nature of the material world, is meant for the insane people, those who are not worshipping Krishna. But in the material world, those who are the best persons, those who are self-realized or on the path of self-realization, they worship Krishna. Yam Brahma, Varnanda, Rudra, Marutastum, Ganti, Divyais, Savai, all the great demigods, they worship Krishna. This Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva, those who are godly in this dark and miserable material world, those who are godly, they are devotees of Lord Vishnu. But he himself is worshipping Radharani. Anayaradite Nunam, her name is understood that she is the best of those who are worshipping Krishna. And Krishna, he is so much indebted by that service of Radharani that he feels that I should rather serve her. She is so great. I cannot exist without her. In the very beginning of his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada has pointed out what is greater than God. This is an apparently meaningless statement, because God means the greatest. If there's anything greater than God, then God is not supreme. That is the secret that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach. Anarpita charing chirat karuna avatirno kalo samarpiyatam unatajvala rasasva bhakti shriyam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach something which had not been taught in a very long time. The super effulgent, blazing mellow of devotional service to himself, who is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Mayam. He is Radha and Krishna combined. So this, but that also not to be very, that Radha, she is superior to Krishna. That she is, because bhakti, even greater than God is bhakti. Better than Bhagavan is Bhagavad Bhakti. Greater, stronger, because he is controlled by bhakti. God means who controls everyone. That's the definition of God. But he is controlled by bhakti. Not by Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, not by some pretense at bhakti that is meant for fulfilling some personal desire, or not by some attempt at bhakti in which one is still attracted to anything else but bhakti, but by pure devotion to Krishna. Krishna becomes controlled. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach. He revealed the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. By his very activities, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why Prabhupada, his introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam is an overview of the activities and teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he reveals what is Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means that Vraja Bhakti, again Prabhupada is explaining, there's the Vidhi Bhakti, when we don't have love for Krishna, then we follow according to rules and regulations. And Raga Bhakti, when we actually have love for Krishna, then there's no rules and regulations. That means forgetting that God is God. Krishna is God, therefore Yam Brahma, Varnanda, Rudra, all the demigods, they're offering him prayers. But higher than theism, higher than belief in God or following a system of worship of God, is that which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and which the doors to, or the treasure chest of, is broken open by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who revealed the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, misunderstood by previous acharyas. This is a shocking statement. Even previous great acharyas, they could not have entrance to what is the understanding of Raja Bhakti, which means when no longer treating Krishna as God. When love becomes so great that there is no consideration that this is God. Nemam varinjana bhavo nashre rapyanga samshrayaha prasadam lebhire gopi yat tat prapa vimuktidat. This Shukadeva Goswami has expressed his astonishment. What is the position of Mother Yashoda? Mother Yashoda is not Radharani. Today is Radharani. But Mother Yashoda, what mercy she got from Bhagavan. She would never think, I'm getting mercy from Krishna. But what mercy she got, that Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and even Lakshmi Devi, who's always on the chest of the Lord, so intimately associated with it, they could not get the same mercy, they could not conceive of the mercy that Mother Yashoda got, that she could tie up Bhagavan. He is Vimuktida. He is the giver of liberation, Mukunda. And she has made him non-liberated. She has tied him up. She has tied him up with the ropes of love. So this is the Raja Bhakti. The love beyond considering Krishna as God. Even the Vrndavasis, they know Krishna is God. But they're not very interested that he's God. It's not very meaningful to them. To them, he's Krishna. So in Vrindavan means the land of Radha and Krishna. Maybe even more so Radha than Krishna. Because Krishna can apparently go outside Vrindavan. Sri Krishna never goes outside Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityaja. Napadam ekam gacchati. Krishna never goes outside Vrindavan. But it appears sometimes he may go outside. Vasudeva Krishna. Again, Prabhupada has explained. In Mathura, in Dwaraka, same Krishna, but in different features, goes outside. But Vrindavan Dham, by definition, at least Bhaktivinoda Thakur has found out that one definition for Sri Vrindavan Dham is Radha Padankita Dham Janam Vrindavan. That which is, that place which is marked by the footprints of Srimati Radharani. Of course, that's also Krishna Padankita Dham. Krishna's lotus footprints are to be found everywhere in Vrindavan. But especially, Vrindavan is associated with all the Vrajavasis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, the cows and calves, cowherd boys, Yamuna. There are so many places, Krishna Lila, Vamshi Bhatta, Keshi Ghat, in the greater Raja area, Govardhan, Radha Kund, Shama Kund, so many places. But Queen of Vrindavan, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, we don't know, we don't been here. Sometimes we hear names Gokulanath, something like that. Krishna is the Lord of Gokul, but Vrindavaneshwari, we don't hear. Did you ever hear Vrindavaneshwara? If anyone should know, you should know. We don't hear Krishna Vrindavaneshwara, but we hear Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Queen of Vrindavan. That name is sometimes also given, Brajeshwari, to Yashoda Mai. At least formally she is the Queen of Vrindavan. But this Vrindavan especially belongs to Srimati Radharani. Because the Brajvasis, why are they Brajvasis? Because they're only interested in Krishna's satisfaction. That's there from the beginning of Vaikuntha, through Mathura, Dwarka, Ayodhya. The inhabitants of the spiritual world, they exist only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, who they variously conceive of as Vaikuntanath, Mathuresh, Dwarakesh. So they all exist for the pleasure, their whole being is centered on serving the Supreme Lord. But the intensity is most in Vrindavan. That extreme intensity of service to Krishna, that is revealed in Vrindavan. And the emblem of that service, Srimati Radharani. The Vrajavasis, they know this. That Krishna cannot be happy without Radharani. So Vrajavasi, they tend to worship Radha more. Because they know that if we're to make Krishna happy, it's the two are interlinked. There's no proper Krishna bhakti without Radha. No Radha without Krishna, no Krishna without Radha. So this has been described in a song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhala. Krishna bhajat tavan akaram gala. It says that if one has no inclination to worship Radharani, then his worship of Krishna is useless, meaningless. Atap rahit suraj nahi jani. Just as we do not know the sun without heat. Today the sun is very cold. Is it a very meaningful statement? Now the sun is cold. No, not possible. So atap rahit suraj nahi jani. Radha birahit madhava nahi mani. So he says, in the same way as we cannot believe there's any sun without heat. So in the same way, Madhav means Madhav, the husband of Lakshmi. Or it means who has come in Madhu dynasty. But this Madhav, more than Lakshmi, more than Madhu dynasty, he is always with Radha, Madhava. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we cannot accept Madhav without Radha. Keval Madhav puje sho agyani, Radha anada karaye abhimani. Who likes to worship Krishna, that ignorant person who likes to worship Krishna without, keval Madhav alone means without Radha. Without offering proper respect to Radharani. It simply is an expression. This so-called worship of Krishna is simply an expression of his false pride. Kabahi nahi karibo takar shanga chitte ichasi jadi braja rasha ranga. I'll never associate with such a person. If at all we desire to enter that Braja Ras, or the mellows of Vrndavana, we cannot associate with those who do not accept Radharani. Radhika dasi jadi hoy abhiman shigrai milai taba gokula khan. If we have the attitude of being the servant of Radhika, then very quickly we can come to Gokula Khan, Krishna in Vrindavan. Brahma, Shiva, Narad, Shruti, Narayani, Radhika, Padaraja, Puja, Mani. Those who are actually great personalities. Brahma, Shiva, Narad, Shruti, the Vedas, Narayani. Narayani, this may mean Lakshmi Devi, maybe Tulsi Devi also. So they worship Radha Padaraj, the dust of the lotus feet of Srimati Radha. Uma, Rama, Satta, Shachi, Chandra, Rukmini, Radha Avatara Shabe, Anmay Vani. So the conclusion of the Vedas is that all the great female personalities of the universe, Uma, Rama, Satya, Shachi, Chandra, Rukmini, they are all avatars, they are all expansions of Srimati Radharani. Heno Radha Paricharja Jakar Dhan Bhakti Vinod Tar Mage Charan. Who has made the service of Radharani his wealth, Bhakti Vinod begs at his lotus feet. The Vrajavasis, they are concerned with service to Radha Krishna, because they know that Krishna cannot be satisfied without Radha. Vrindavan has no meaning without Radha. So the whole of Vrindavan, whole of Raj Leela is, of course every devotee has their individual relationship with Krishna, but it's all centered around service to Radha and Krishna, bringing together Radha and Krishna. And Krishna he loves all living beings infinitely. And all the devotees of Krishna, their love for Krishna is unlimited, immeasurable. But nevertheless, all the love of all the devotees together cannot satisfy Krishna in the same way as the love of Srimati Radharani. All of them together. Because the love of Radharani for Krishna, even though All the love of all the devotees for Krishna is unlimited, but there, all together, infinite plus infinite plus infinite plus infinite, all together, does not total even an infinitesimal portion of the love that Radha has for Krishna. Krishna cannot be satisfied without Radharani. Therefore the whole of Braja Ras is simply how to bring together Radha and Krishna. Even there's so many, just like now I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Hanuman. Here's Hanuman. Lanka Dahan. He's performing his great act of burning Lanka for the pleasure of Ram. So all these great devotees there, we can't imagine what is the devotion of Hanuman. It's beyond our power to imagine. But that, even though we shouldn't attempt to measure in some kind of mundane manner, we shouldn't think that any devotee is lacking in their love for the Supreme Lord. There's nothing lacking in Hanuman's devotion to Rama. Nevertheless, it doesn't begin to approach that of the Vrajavasis. So this Prabhupada was describing, everyone is worshipping Krishna, but Krishna is trying to understand how great is Srimati Radha, how wonderful is her love for him. That Krishna, who is Atma Rama, I'm just saying the same thing as Prabhupada said. I'll say again. He is fully satisfied in himself, but he can never be satisfied without Radha. Madha means Radha. Krishna means Radha Krishna. Shri Govinda, Gopinath, Madan Mohan. Govinda means Radha Govinda. Gopinath means Radha Gopinath. Madan Mohan means Radha Madan Mohan. All the rasas, all the devotees, they all have their particular relationship with Krishna. Dasya ras, Shanta ras, also Shanta ras, Dasya ras, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Shringara ras, very sweet. They're all present in their superlative forms in Srimati Radharani. She knows in every way how to serve Krishna. Therefore she is called Rasa Murti. She is the emblem of all the rasas, all the serving tendency towards Krishna. That is the inherent nature of the jiva, that all derives from Radharani. She is the actual servant. And all other servants, they're deriving their serving tendency from her only. No one can serve Krishna. He is fully satisfied with the service of Radharani. But because she desires that his service will be expanded more and more and more, let others come to serve Krishna more and more and more. Therefore her unlimited serving tendency is manifested in all other living beings. Therefore she is Rasa Murti. All the feelings, all the expressions of love for Krishna, that is simply by her mercy. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda says, Radhika dasi jadi hoy abhiman, shigrei milai taba gokula khan. If we try to identify ourselves as Radha Dasi, let us go through Radharani. She is Krishna, non-different, absolute truth, predominated moiety, in the language of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. She is non-different from Krishna, but she has the passport, or she has the authority to award Krishna Bhakti. Because if Radharani recommends, Krishna will accept. If we try to come directly to Krishna, not possible. But if Radharani recommends, then even if Krishna doesn't like, he will have to accept. Because he is theoretically, ontologically, Krishna is the predominating moiety, and Radharani is predominated. But by love, Radharani has conquered Krishna. So if she recommends, then Krishna cannot refuse. She holds the key to Krishna Bhakti, because she is Bhakti. She is Bhakti Swarupini. She is the very emblem of loving devotional service to Krishna. So in this way, the Rasa Shastra should be understood. That is not for publicly discussing. But when we can understand who is Radharani, that just like in Rasa Shastra it's stated, every limb, every atom of her being longs for union with Krishna. So this may sound like those who do not understand who is Radharani, they will think that this is something vulgar, like something sex, like mundane sex. But rather, her longing for Krishna means she longs to be united with Krishna. Every atom of her being is made up with love for Krishna. She simply desires Krishna's happiness in all respects. In Braja Leela there is the Radha school and Chandravali school. There is some apparent rivalry. This is to increase the rasa. Apparent competition. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Radharani, has said that if you desire, I shall bring Chandra. You don't want me, you want Chandravali? Okay, I'll bring her. She doesn't want to come, I'll convince her. So, her own happiness of being with Krishna, she's prepared to forswear that. If Krishna expresses some perverse desire to be united with Chandravali instead of her. So Chandravali, like everyone else in existence, is simply there to expedite the loving affairs of Radha with Krishna. Everyone is Radha Dasi. Of course, when you say, how is Hanuman Radha Dasi? How are the Ayodhya Vasis Radha Dasi? But even there, Bhakti, that is the tendency to serve the Supreme Lord, that is coming from Radharani, and there Bhakti glorifies Radha. The Bhakti of the Vaikuntha Vasis, the Bhakti of the Ayodhya Vasis, Dwarka Vasis, Mathura Vasis, Braja Vasis, it all is glorifying Radha's love for Krishna. Because whatever is glorious, just like that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yad Yad Vibhuti Mat Sattvam Srimad Purjatam Evava Tat Tat Eva Vadatama Namatejam Sattsamava. Whatever is wonderful and glorious in this world, you should know that springs from but a spark of my splendor. So we should know that whatever bhakti is manifested, Shuddha Bhakti, that which is devoid of any personal desire, that is simply pointing towards what is the superlative bhakti of Srimati Radharani. So in this way, even knowingly or unknowingly, even the Vaikuntha Vasis, they are glorifying Srimati Radharani. Even the mundane poets who glorify love, Romeo and Juliet, indirectly in a perverted way, they're also glorifying Radharani. They don't know, they have no interest. But by that mundane rasa, of course, that tendency to indulge in mundane rasa is that which drags us to hell because we don't recognize Krishna. But even indirectly, that description of mundane rasa, that is glorifying the actual rasa of pure love by its being the jara rasa, or whatever feelings may be there. Sometimes people may go to a movie, a mundane love story, and start crying. So by their misplaced love, they're indirectly glorifying what is the actual rasa, what is the actual love. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also, astonishingly, in expressing his feelings, or the feelings of Radharani for Krishna, he quoted from this mundane kavya, some mundane love story. And no one could understand. Why is he saying that he's talking from some mundane love story? So only Sri Damodar Goswami, he could understand this, and Rupa Goswami. But Sri Damodar Goswami, he just kept it a secret to himself. But Rupa Goswami, he recorded them. He broadcast it to the world. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found in that perverted expression of love, or that reflection of loving feelings, he found that this is representing Radha's love for Krishna. So for those who have the eyes to see it, everything in existence is glorifying Radha's love for Krishna. But mostly that is very difficult. Difficult in the sense we don't have that feeling. We don't have that feeling because we are absorbed in the jalaras, the dull, blunt desire to enjoy our own bodies and the bodies of others. Therefore, this love of Radharani for Krishna, that should not be even though that should be widely preached at the same time, but with very great caution. Widely preached means we should teach Bhagavad Gita as it is. First let people understand who is Bhagavan, what is our relationship with Him. Otherwise, in the beginning, if we introduce, because the mundane rasa appears so similar to the pure rasa. If the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are widely broadcast to persons without proper understanding of that, then they will tend to take it as something for their own sense enjoyment. Or they will take Krishna as another sense enjoyer. And that will be disaster for them. Because considering Krishna as a very accomplished sense enjoyer, which he certainly is, they will think, well, I'm also a sense enjoyer. so let me also enjoy my senses. One can actually understand Vrajaras when one has not the slightest inclination to enjoy himself on the mundane platform. No tinge of sense gratification. So that training is there. Vaidhi sadhana. A life of training how to act, think and speak only for the pleasure of Krishna. When one is fixed on that platform and that tendency to serve Krishna is intensified and one can understand that we are to we live only for the satisfaction of Krishna, then how will Krishna be satisfied? Krishna cannot be satisfied without Radha. Therefore, we should satisfy Radha. This is the process taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has made it available to everyone by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chanting Hare Krishna means to beseech Krishna, O energy of Krishna, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service. So it is possible to go to Radha through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, this is the Radha Krishna Leela. For us who are in this conditioned state, it's very difficult. It's beyond our ken to understand. What is this Radha Krishna Leela? What to speak of us? Even many great personalities, liberated, pure devotees, they cannot understand what is the love of Radha for Krishna. But that gift Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made available. Yata yata gora padara vinde vindeta bhaktin krita punya rashi tata sapati vidyaka sma radha padam vid ojena sudhambu rashi. As much as we worship the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when we actually worship Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we will find by His mercy that automatically the nectar of love for Srimati Radharani will overflow and flood our hearts. So this is the way to worship Radha. To understand Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Bhayana. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna. We can, from our position, we can better approach Radha Krishna in the combined form. Radha Bhavat Yuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupa. Krishna combined with Radha, who has accepted the form, feelings and bodily luster of Radharani. That is Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can best approach Radha and Krishna through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's the most profound day of worship of Srimati Radharani. Every day is day of worship, today more so. So very profound, this Prabhupada was again and again saying, It's a very great philosophy. But the essence of that philosophy is very simple. Chant the Maha Mantra and serve Radha Krishna. Prabhupada, you see, we're saying in the conditioned state, we cannot actually serve Radha Krishna, we can serve Lakshmi Narayana. So we're serving Radha, or we're attempting to serve Radha Rasbihari by the Vidhima, serving them like Lakshmi and Narayana. But here on Radhashtami Day, we can appreciate how Srila Prabhupada is the greatest devotee of Radharani. In his childhood, Prabhupada would call the sadhus and ask, you please bless him that he will be a great devotee of Srimati Radharani. So Prabhupada's service in erecting this temple it's like a microcosm of his whole service in erecting the whole ISKCON institution. With what difficulty, what struggle he erected this temple for the glorification of Radharani, Radha Rasmihari. So infused with that mood, I must serve Krishna. I promised Krishna. I brought you here. I promised you I will build a temple. So no, whatever, any demons, obstructions, whatever, even his own disciples saying, what's the use? Prabhupada fully determined that I must serve Krishna, even at the risk of my life. I cannot allow anyone to stop that there should be service of Radha and Krishna. So that irrepressible desire that even so many combined to try to stop Prabhupada worshipping Radha and Krishna here, but they could not stop, because Bhakti is stronger than any mundane force, however powerful that mundane force may seem to be. So Prabhupada was fully empowered by Radharani. He promised to Krishna, I shall serve you here. So he took blessings from Radharani and fully in the mood of Radharani, taking that mood of Radharani that I must serve Krishna, whatever. Against all obstacles, he erected this temple here. And he erected the ISKCON institution all over the world. So this temple is Prabhupada's personal worship. We don't find that daily Prabhupada was offering arati. Sometimes he would. But his bhajan, his worship was to establish Krishna consciousness all over the world, to give people the chance to know who is Radha and Krishna. So he's established this palace for Radha and Krishna, so that everyone can come and be inspired by this mood of service that is the very being of Radharani. She desires to serve Krishna, so that therefore Guru is Radharani. Actual Guru is Radharani. We worship our Gurus. Guru is one because Guru is Radharani. Means that what is Guru doing? Simply teaching others how to engage in Krishna's service. So in this way, the Guru is the delegation of Radharani. that same, simply expanding Radharani's desire that Krishna should be served more by everyone. Therefore, Radha invests her potency, that is Krishna Shakti. She is the Shakti of Krishna, Shakti Shaktiman. So she invests her Shakti in those who have the desire to serve Krishna more. This temple is Srila Prabhupada's gift to Radha and Krishna, his gift to the world, so that everyone can come and be inspired with that mood of service to Radha and Krishna, which is that service to Radha and Krishna, that is Radharani. Why is she so great? That Krishna himself is indebted to her because her very being is service. In every way, in the most tasteful ways, whatever Krishna desires, that is fulfilled by Srimati Radharani. So in this way, in every activity of bhakti, that is manifestation of Radharani. Bhakti is not possible without Radharani, because she is bhakti. Therefore on this day we pray for her mercy, that we may become the servants of her servants of her servants, so that we can, even from a distant position, we can serve, we can assist her in her service to Krishna. We cannot assist her, but that is her mercy, that she